Well, hello, guys. Another week has gone by. I can't believe it's like the second last day to September.
Yeah.
Crystal and I go way back. We feel like, oh, we're just like here for a tea chat because we've journeyed for 2.5 years in a community together. I have my cup over here too.
See? It's a team chat.
Yeah, exactly. So, Crystal, I really admire your ability to, you know, walk into things and see organization and just come up with creative ideas and strategies and those kind of things. So tell us a little bit about you in this regard of like some of the interests that this girl, she pulls it out of it's like, oh yeah, I've done that. So tell us just a highlight of some of the things that have been a passion for you and that you've been educated in, just so people know who we're talking to here today.
I was just pulling some stats to finish a PowerPoint for the challenge starting on Monday. And I went, man, I like to do a lot of things, don't I? So you've probably heard the phrase, the jack of all trades, the master of none. I don't think that last part is always true. I think
That's my
sometimes when we are a jack of all trades, it's because we love to learn. And I'm a lifelong learner. And if I don't know it and it interests me, I'm going to go learn it so I can teach it to someone else who
Yeah.
doesn't have the time to learn it. And that's what I tend to do. So, because of that, I do have some interesting passions that actually are coming together in congruency, which is really cool. But definitely entrepreneurship. It's my heart. I got that handed to me pretty fairly by my mom and my dad, who are entrepreneurs. And I think my dad's he's down to 5 businesses now instead of
Sounds
right.
like my husband.
Right. Because he wants to retire supposedly out of real estate at 74. And
Oh,
I just we all laugh. I'm like, Dad, I'm pretty sure you've been saying that for like 5 years. But
yeah.
okay.
Well,
He has
when you retire, you give up in a way. So I don't think you ever want to stop. We always
uh,
want to we always want to dream, right? We always want to.
exactly. And as visionaries, as entrepreneurs, we tend to be full of ideas. Like we see the need in a situation, like Spanx, right? So like, like Spanx, right? She saw the need, she sat in her little sewing machine and created it, and now we have a multi-billion-dollar business because
So true.
women want to get it sucked in, right?
Yeah.
And so when we as entrepreneurs see these needs, we just kind of do it. And that's how we arrived at what we're talking about today.
Yeah.
So
But I like that you have variety. I like that watching you, you always love to serve community and you definitely, will bring something in that other people won't think about, like even the information all in one place and, organization and stuff. And that's a real gift, to help people. Even for myself, I have so many ideas and I just had to clean off my computer 150 gigs because it's been the rainbow, everything. And as I was going through there, I was seeing my dreams recorded, written down. Like I'm going through 4,000 voice memos, and I was like, what am I missing? I'm missing the structuring and the pulling out and the organizing, developing of all these amazing ideas. Like they are crazy amazing. I've got like a show idea, I've got a movie idea, I don't know how many books, I have business ideas, and they all could be making money, but they sit in my dusty computer files, dusty computer drawers, waiting to come to life. And so that's why I find it intriguing what you and Yvonne are bringing with, the what is it? The business idea.
business idea incubator.
Yes. Here it is, right here.
Yep, there you go. There it is, right there. Yep,
There it
perfect,
is.
perfect.
And
Yeah.
I'm curious, how did you and Yvonne come together? Because you didn't really highlight what Crystal really is bringing. We should go back there first. Uh, you know, Give us some
Um,
ideas of what you're bringing to this, and then highlight for Yvonne since she couldn't make it today. She's traveling and
she
getting
is.
ready to
Yeah,
travel.
she is. So, the short version is I taught 30 years in the college realm for tech, for corporate, and for actually credit, I guess we will call it. But in doing so, I really saw how many people had these ideas that they wanted to build a business around, or just even to develop on tech, and they didn't really have the means. And at that point, online world didn't really exist as it does today.
Yeah.
And, crazy as it is, God brought Yvonne and I together last October, actually. We're celebrating our
Wow.
1 year anniversary at conference this year. As a complete fluke, our girls were in Next Gen and got to know each other. And then we both signed up for something at the conference and got to sit beside each other because the girls wanted to sit beside each other. Found out that Yvonne does the tech, I do the tech. And it's so cool to see how God's brought us together because she is the logic and I am the emotional and the heart. And, together we create a whole package for people to understand their ideas and their dreams and their tech systems and to come in and walk and partner. Because exactly what you just said, I have all these ideas and I have this piece and that piece and this piece. I don't know how to break them down. I don't know what I should do next. And we started this journey in developing systems to help first time entrepreneurs and those who kind of wanted to scale their businesses that didn't really have good systems in place yet. And what we found out was most of the people who need this have a really good idea, just like you. I know you're full of ideas because you and I chat, and you got some amazing ideas. But how do we break them down,
Yeah.
right? How do we create this environment where we are not only going to put them in this environment that's going to allow them to grow, but how do we then foster that into our clients? How do we foster that into the solutions? So we've actually developed this incredible framework and system that's actually going to teach them how to do that. And could we go 5, 10, 15, 30 days? Absolutely, we could. But the fact is, who's got that time?
Nobody.
Right.
But
So
just to have someone help you, Crystal, like, I think I was at that lunch table.
you were actually, you were.
Like, I was there. I wasn't a part of that conversation, but I was like, I was there. I was sitting at the same table with you and Yvonne and your daughters for a luncheon at the conference. I think
Yep.
that's really cool. Wow.
So you were
So
there at the very beginning.
when you think about God's alignment, just coming into, we are in a community called 100X for those of you who aren't a part of 100X, because there are people who come on watching us are like, what are you talking about? That are for Christian entrepreneurs. And we are coaches in that movement as well. And so that's how Crystal and I got really connected. And then just journeying on challenges and building ideas. And like, Crystal, never in my lifetime, I remember, I think 5, 6 years ago, I was sitting talking to someone. I said, we were not taught in our generation. I'm 53. My husband's 66. He's still trying to find out who he wants to be when he grows up, and so am I. We were never taught to dream. We were taught to work hard. So
Right.
all of a sudden, like, my kids are influencers and they do all online and social media. They dream and they put a lot of pressure. Even your daughter at what, 17, is it?
Mm-hmm.
They push themselves beyond what we ever would have at 17.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this drive that we never even thought we could have. And so when the online opened up for COVID, this is the positive of what we've been through in the last,
It
few years.
is. It
Yeah.
really is.
All my friends who were like, why do you kids do the social media? Why are you guys online? Now who isn't online? Basically, most people, there's a very few that aren't, number of people who aren't, but you're seeing people find themselves
Mm-hmm.
and launch something and make money and help impact the world in a way they never would have imagined. And I feel like God is opening up the door. I'm just hearing this right now, but God's opening up the door for us to take back for the righteous, like, so we
Amen.
can impact in the way that God intended it. And that comes through the visions from heaven, the creative downloads. But God gave you structure with you and Yvonne to bring, and I see other people doing this in different forms to, like, how relieving is it when someone says, let me do that funnel for you. Let me let me put that messaging together for you. You're like, wow. Yeah, because I don't know how to say this. I got 30 pages here. I got a lot of it. I've got a really good list. And how do I make a message that when I step out, I bring me, you bring you, whoever's watching, you bring you, and you bring the story that God has created in and through you to other people, and you don't have to stress about some of these other things because you're bringing, like, let's just be realistic here, Crystal. I've tried for 2.5 years, do it myself,
I get it.
and what to save money to,
That's
but
the
the
number one
cost,
reason. That
yeah,
is
the
the number one reason.
cost of our time
Yep.
is I've put so much time into something that I just don't get.
Well,
And
and
so
it's not just that. It's because you don't get it and because you don't know the tech, right? And that's fine that you don't know the tech. Like,
yeah,
not everybody's designed to know tech.
no,
That's fine. That's
no.
no judgment. But the fact that you don't, or even us who do know the tech, right? Do you know how many platforms I have bought into? How many, this Band-Aid and this Band-Aid and this Band-Aid and this Band-Aid. And by the time it's done, you're paying $1,200 a month. And you're like, where's all my money going? What little money you've been making
I'm
in
still not making that should be.
like, right? And you're just like, oh my gosh,
Do
what
what
is
you do well. Yeah, like, do what
right?
you this is what it comes
Right.
back to you. And I tell a group that I lead, yes, it's such a relevant topic right now because when like I'm reparenting now. I have a 3-year-old and I raised 4 adult kids. So I was thinking, like, when you're past that stage, like you have a 17-year-old daughter, Crystal, you're not going to want to go babysit someone's kids right now.
Right.
You're working for something else. You're in a different space. So it's the same thing with tech. It's the same thing with some people love tech like you, and then other people. But you have a mix. You have a mix of both. But we never find we can do everything for ourselves like we can for other
Right.
people. Like, you've even practiced coach with me, and we've shared together in that way. And so I see we're trying to do it all,
Mhm.
and you just don't do it all. Like, even as a mom, you have school, and even if you homeschool, you have activities, you find other moms. What it takes a village to raise a child. Well, this is, you call it incubator.
It
This
is.
is a child being, your idea is a child. Is it going to be birthed? Is it going to be born? Is it going to live? Is it going to thrive? Is it going to, you know, have a voice?
And that
And
in that environment, that's
yeah,
what we're really working on with what we're doing is we're helping you create an environment. Those are systems, those are opportunities. As you mentioned earlier when we first started talking, I went through all of these files and all of these voicemails and all of this stuff just to clear space. 150 gigs worth of space on your computer was being taken up by all these ideas, right? So what if you had all of that in a system that offered you the opportunity to clearly see the path from infancy to, adulthood in your idea, basically, right? So it's about creating and pulling in that information into this system that we've created, and out of that we're going to teach you how to then grow it, and then from there you're just like it says on the screen, we are going to teach you how to quantum leap that idea into the kingdom because of the ecosystem that we're having you develop for your idea so it can be capsulated, it can be protected, it can be nurtured, you can grow it in a way you're not losing that ability to launch it. You're not losing that ability with distractions. You're
yeah,
not losing that ability with, oh, well, maybe if I get this one other piece over here, it would help me do it, which is typically what we're doing as entrepreneurs. We're like, well, if I just get this one other thing, then it'll take off. The fact is, it doesn't change the basis of your idea.
you're right.
It's about leveraging, right? So
Mm,
how do we put your idea into a system that's going to leverage it, it's going to catapult it, quantum leap it into the future, into where you want to take it. So we ended up using the word quantum. It was really kind of cool how God did this. And I had literally just watched the new Quantum Leap, which is not like that one. Let's just leave it there. And I was just like, Lord, there is something about that word. Like, what is it about quantum leap? And so we started doing a little research and we started getting the definitions. And quantum actually means to segment different pieces. That makes so much sense in an idea when we're building it, doesn't it? Because
Mm,
we need to understand the different moving parts and pieces of our idea. For example, back to our Spanx lady, right? So it wasn't just that she had to go out and find the right material. She had to make sure the right material, the right threading, what type of stitching to do that was going to make it hold. Because, I mean, seriously, when we're women, we're trying to pull those things up. Like, that takes a lot of, like, we're stronger than we realize when we start pulling those things up, right? And so it had to hold against that. So each of those pieces is a segmentation to the overall idea. And then you have the marketing piece, then you have the payment integrations and all those moving parts and pieces that are more the tech idea. All right. And so when we come in and we're teaching how to actually move that from this infancy stage, right?
mm,
From this egg, just like a chicken, to this little egg, and then incubating it so it can grow in the right environment, the right ecosystem,
wow.
and then hatch into the actual idea it was born to be. Right?
Wow.
That's huge. That is just huge. And we
Wow.
don't leave you there. We're teaching you how to then scale that up. So
Mm,
as you're coming in with that idea, we're there with you on every step of the way. So the challenge next week is just the first 3 overall views. Like, let's get you into the system. Let's teach you how to break down your idea, right?
mm,
And because we want you to be able to protect your idea. Now, intellectual property is a whole nother protection that we can talk about. But we want to keep you to the place of let's protect your idea in the format we need to nurture it. We
mm,
need to keep away the distractions. We need to make sure that you're focused on it. So I love that our mentor comes up with his big challenge of getting the God idea, right? So that is his gig, and we are so excited because we are kind of the next stage. Now you've got the God idea, right?
wow.
And so now what are we going to do with it? How are we going to lay it out? What are the resources you need? What can help you kind of leapfrog to the next step? What are the shortcuts to getting there? And then how do we keep you focused on the idea? Because us visionaries, you know this, we are distracted by our next idea.
It's like, oh, and then I actually wrote a children's book in 2020. Got an illustrator in the early 21. You coached me on this, and sadly, happily she had a baby, but then sadly her mom passed away. But then
Oh,
happily she had another baby, and she had most of my illustrations are done, but I lost my inspiration to finish. But I've been reminded of, there's nothing like seeing that first illustration of somebody. Like, I can't draw it, but she did it so beautiful. And there's nothing like seeing someone create a funnel for you or a graphic that is your message. Like, it would take me hours or weeks to come up with a graphic. I don't know the color or all that and the design and everything. And so when someone knows that, it just relieves me of time. It's like my
right.
word for this year is resonance. And a lady told me today, energy resonance is energy coming into alignment.
Oh, that's good. That's
So this
really good.
is about quantum because you're literally taking that idea and coming into alignment, the energy of it. And I think that plays with quantum and frequency. Like, those are God words.
Hmm.
Like in the beginning, God was the word. And he said, let there be, like, the quantum came from God. And so when people are throwing these words around, it really matters. They're
It,
not, they're
it does.
significant. Like Brandy Joe says, quantum is in the new era. And that word era I love because, and resonance is too, like, we've got to get back to, I don't like the word tap into, but we got to get back to identity.
Hmm.
And,
Absolutely.
God told me yesterday, branding is identity.
Absolutely, without question.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's part of your sure foundation. That's
Yeah.
one of the things that we really feel very strongly on. Part of our branding is really people coming to us and we having the conversation to say, We are in the business of helping you build kingdom businesses
Yeah.
because we know that's an impact, right? And
Mhm.
so we want to leverage what we know, the shortcuts that we know, the tech that we know, so you can get out there and do what God's designed you to do in your identity, your destiny, your calling, your purpose. And all of those have different parts and pieces. So the system that we're creating allows you to capture all those parts and pieces. So at any given time, you can go to one place in one area and multiple tools within there for you then to use those funnels that you were talking about, right? To use a Calendly version of scheduling, to use how to capture all of your management for your clients, to be able to interact with them like this. I mean,
Yeah.
how many times do you need to go find somebody's email, find somebody's name, then do it? And then, did I send that email? I can't remember if I sent that email. So then it develops this pipeline system where you're going to know when you've talked to anybody at any given time, because it actually takes shots of that. It tells you when you've talked to them, how you've talked to them. And then to have a system that you could text out of and do email out of. I mean, like, we're really designing a system for everyone that understands all the parts that you need, including affiliate marketing.
Mhm.
You should absolutely be making money. For example, your book, getting those illustrations, getting
Yeah.
it out there, and then providing affiliate marketing to people like me who want to promote your book, right?
Yeah.
And so,
It
and
just makes
remember,
sense. It just
it
makes sense.
does. It
Let me
does.
help
It's
you.
grassroots.
Yeah. Like, let me help you and you help me. Like, actually, when
Absolutely.
I'm thinking about energy coming into alignment, I've been spending very precious energy that could go to my 3-year-old, that could go to just
Yeah.
going for a walk, trying to figure things out that actually steal my energy,
Mhm.
and I'm not bringing the message. When someone writes me and says, "You pulled me out of a 3-foot grave," which I know God did, why am I focused on tech? Do you understand? Like, there are people that need what you have inside of you, what I have inside of me, and we need to remember where we put our energy, you know?
Absolutely.
We need to think about these things. I do it myself, my little guy says, "I do it myself, I do it myself," but we we he can't. He's obviously screaming in the background if you could hear him. You
It
know?
happens.
Yeah, he wants to do it himself. And I'm screaming in the background saying, "I can't do it myself." How and we don't always know where to start. So you're offering a place to come and find community and work together to find, alignment of where is my idea start and how can I make this happen. So tell me, tell everyone kind of like what they're going to experience, for some of the things that you're bringing this in the 3-day.
Yeah, absolutely. So the first part of what we want to do is help you see the system. And so you can see how it's going to actually incubate your idea, how it's going to be in a safe place. You're going to be able to track it. You're going to be able to create your list of what are my next steps out of it. And then you are going to be able to be in there and play with it. We have figured out the best thing that anybody can do is get down and dirty, right? You
Yeah.
want to make mud pies, it requires mud. And you're going to be in it head to toe because we want you to see how easy it is, how
Yeah.
simplified it is, because it needs to then become an extension of your idea. Because our ideas and our dreams, they are amazing things. But if all they do is sit on the shelf, they're not doing anything for anybody. And
Yeah.
God's given you that vision. I personally think there has actually been cures for cancer. All the different cancer ideas are out there. The problem is there's fear, right? There's fear it's going to fail, or there's fear that there's not enough money, or there's fear that I can't do it, right? Just
Yeah.
like we were talking about. And
Yep.
so people just sit on it.
Mhm.
And, we know that your idea has kingdom impact, or you wouldn't have it.
It's true.
And so God's given a download to each person individually here for something very specific. I saw Holly pop up a second ago. I love what she does with the dance. Like, I was on
Yes.
the dance worship team and stuff, and I know the power of watching a praise and worship dance. It
Yes.
will move you faster than just singing a song sometimes.
It's so
And
true.
and so that power of just even that in we
Interpretation. Mhm.
absolutely. And so we think sometimes that our idea, well, it's not going to really do anything. My kiddo herself has an idea right now. And I'm like, you need to take this and run with it. Here's
Yeah.
how to make that happen. But mom, what if nobody likes it? I'm like, what if they love it?
Yeah, exactly. And they've been waiting for
You
you.
know?
They've been waiting for you to implement your idea. I think that what we get stuck at is how am I going to make money? How am I going to figure out how to monetize? Like, because all of us have been doing much of what the movement inside of us is for free.
Oh,
And and
absolutely.
we have not valued what God has entrusted to us. The word I've been getting is steward. And
Mhm.
I have shirked the responsibility of the download because it's bigger. When God gives you something, it's bigger than you. And then another
Absolutely.
thing is we have to get through sharing. Crystal, I've seen 3 times this year, not just in our community, but outside of, where God has given an idea he gave to me to someone else. And it was almost like, look, Stacy, I trusted you with this. I asked you to do it years ago. You didn't. It's in your dusty shelf. I've watched 3 people do amazing things. And that, yeah, that lump came up in my throat. I cried the tears. But why,
Yeah.
God? I thought this was for me. No, this is for me, he said. That's what he said. This is for me. Now I'll give you something else, but I want to trust you with this. And I didn't share with those people. They didn't steal from me. God, I believe, shares these visions with more than one person. And he waits for you to do it. If you can't, he needs it done. So he will give you more. But I really feel this strongly because I've lived it. I've missed some incredible opportunities, but I bless those people. I'm even blessing them more as I'm speaking right now on this live because God says, when I gave you that, it was a huge movement for you, but now it's just a piece and it's a huge movement for someone else. So you take that piece, apply it, but it's not going to be your movement. So don't get discouraged, but also get inspired. Feel it. Like, what is inside of you that you want to bring out? God gave it to you, but he
Mhm.
also could give it to someone else because they're ready. So I'm like, Crystal, I've been taking coaching, whatever I can to prepare for my mindset, the movement we're in, heart healing. Like, I literally have been preparing. What are my blocks? I thought I had this idea, and like, we are all blocked in some area by the stories we've lived and by the things that we didn't realize we're holding on to, identities. And so now this is a simple thing, this challenge, bringing it deeper, but this challenge is to start something, to come in, to dream, to envision. But I'm challenging you because I lead this Find Challenges. And I did this. God downloaded to me. And now we're about to launch our app and it's going to grow. But I didn't focus on money. I focused on the purpose of launching a platform for people to share, like Crystal and Yvonne. And yeah, I didn't put it all over the place because I had to be ready for the foundation. I had to be ready for this to blow, right? So I just tell one by one, I didn't put Facebook ads out there. This could be bigger, but it wouldn't be as intimate and I wouldn't feel as comfortable. So I started it. I started something and I go live. I don't edit because I would never do this if I had to edit. I'd be like, oh, that has to be taken out. So may I be an encouragement to you, whoever's watching now or later, just start. Like,
Amen.
just do it. Because what are you going to do with all that information and I've lost enough people in my life to know that, like, what does Pedro say about the grave thing? Like, the hours of, when people have passed away, like,
Oh,
the
the cemetery of regrets. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I forget how it
You
was said, but
the grave
seriously,
with you because you didn't do it. Yeah.
yeah. And I just felt this in my spirit. Like, Crystal, I know that you go deeper than just technical. I know that you've helped people get set free, and I know the gift you're bringing to people. And so I felt I wanted to go deeper because you've got to be compelled. You've got to be compelled to want this to get out. And so whatever it takes for you to be ready, God is bringing resources. Like what I've watched in the last 6 months for God prepare me for what I'm stepping into next. It blows my mind because there have been people who come to me and say, Stacey, I want to coach you. I want to give you this deal. And it's like 4 times less. And they didn't know that I needed that. God led them to me and he said, here, Stacey, this is what you need for your next step. So when you step out, then you can step again. And then you can step again, one step at a time. And I don't know why I feel I don't usually go this strong on my lives, but this is really who I am. I'm coming back to me, and I'm what's the word? An inspirer and influencer to help people rise up for their dreams, right? And so I'm seeing an opportunity here in all the people I interview, guys, and even the people who post in here. You have no idea what these people have gone through to bring you this, what they have wrestled through, what they have, struggled to make it happen. And you could be missing something with all of them. They're there, you know? Like how when we watch that YouTube video or that song, like you're saying with Holly, with the, with the dance interpretation and all that, and taking the word of God and, bringing movement, that touches someone. You just caught that. Oh, I just found that YouTube video. Well, I just found that challenge and it changed my life.
Mhm.
I could list to you people who have been in their challenges. I mentioned this in another interview with 4 or 5 people. And yet, you'd be surprised at what they've accomplished.
It
So
only takes one.
yes.
Legitimately, it takes one. I've run challenges like that. I've run them with 350 people, and I've run them with just a few people.
Yeah.
And I look at the ones with a few people. I'm like, okay, so was that marketing? Was that the graphic? And it ends up that the people who showed up are the ones that God needed in that moment. And if nothing else, that entire challenge was run for those couple of people. And I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, but Lord, like, then I look at these other people that are making like $100,000 in a weekend. Like, what are we doing here? And so the cool thing is, you see that one or two people that came to that challenge, and then they just skyrocket, and you're like, oh, that's fine. Okay, I was part of that.
Wow.
That's kind of cool. And so you really begin to realize that ripple effect of what you do. And so,
Mm,
as much as all of us want 500,000 people on all of our challenges, right? Like
yeah.
that's reality. And all of us wanted to bring in $500,000, right? But the reality is, God, who do you want to be there?
Yes. Come on.
Who do you want to receive what you have told us to create, what you have imparted to us as understanding and a word of knowledge and revelation about what they need to do for their idea so they don't get distracted. So one of the things that I'm actually going to share the first day was this video that I stumbled on. I said, yeah, stumbled. Yeah, it's totally
Yeah.
God, right? And
Okay.
so I ended up watching this Hallmark movie while I was working on something, and it was about this woman who loved loggerhead turtles. And so she takes care of little nests, right? So when she sees them laying and she's got them all protected, and then soon as somebody of her little crew realizes that they're hatching, they all run out, no matter what time of night it is. They all run out with their little red flashlights so they see the line go into the water, right? So they can make their way. And I was like, that's really, oftentimes we think about incubation with the chicks, right? But I'm like, that is totally the turtles though. Like
Mm,
the chicks are enclosed in this house and nothing bad can get to them, right? Because they're all enclosed. But those turtles, man, they got to fight for every step
mm,
from all the distractions, from the attackers and things like that. And if they see the wrong light, they go to the wrong light. And now
yeah.
they're not going to the ocean and then they'll end up dying, right? So it's like So he showed me this gift that I'm going to share on the first date about these turtles hatching and really understanding what incubation is really all about, which is about maintaining, it's about growth, and it's about development. And so out of that, and we understand the ecosystem of how to house that idea. So we talk about growing on day 2, and we talk about the ecosystem on day 3, and we really understand nurturing through all 3 pieces. How do we nurture and love on our idea? Not get enraptured with it so it's the end all be all, but really to understand there are going to be times we have to prune our idea, and that hurts, right? And then there are going to be times that we want that idea to flourish in those moments. So from there, it begins to flourish and take off. And then throughout all of it, how are you marketing it? Who are you talking to? How are you positioning? This week alone, I am in like such a ridiculous amount of groups, especially entrepreneur groups. And so I've been noticing like God's been pointing out certain posts. Like, do you see how they're talking about the value of what they're going to offer? But it's not about their offer, it's about connection. And so I'm seeing some of that shift begin to happen over all the entrepreneurs who are
Yeah.
online, to realize, just like we've been talking, it's not always about the money. The
Yeah.
reality is, it is about the money. We got bills to pay, right? But let's leave that there and put a pin in that. But the fact is, when we build community, when we build connection, like you and I, we
Yeah.
have been together since we were training for certified coaching, right? And we've both been coaches before. And so that's why we got it so quickly. We're like, oh, yeah, we see the value of all this,
Yeah.
right? And then out of that, we have become good friends and talked about a variety of things. And then you were at our table the first day. That's kind of fun.
When the incubation happened.
But it's connection, right? And so that's why in the middle of the night, I can text you and go, hey, where's your scheduling link so I can get you to interview me, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what we do in connection, right? And then how many people have I shared fine challenges with along the way that I've been networking
You're
with,
one of my biggest advocates, Crystal, and I
right?
I just want to honor you for that. Thank you.
No,
Thank
because it's valuable. It
you. Yeah.
is so valuable. And when my people in my membership come along and they're like, well, I don't know who to talk to. I'm like, oh, I got the person. You go talk to Stacey. So go get on her live, right?
Yeah.
And because this forum, and for everyone listening, I can't tell you how much this is important that you guys connect with Stacey on this. Because exactly what you're seeing right now, you're going to get a link for a video. You're going to be able to download that video. And guess where you can put it now? On your funnel
Yeah.
as social proof, guys. Like, it's amazing what you're doing for the people in your areas.
So
And
true.
then if you have that as an app on the platform and you're running those lives, guess what's going to happen to your app? I'm going to refer that app to everybody and their brother. Hey, go look at me on the app. I did a live yesterday.
Exactly.
That is called incubation,
Yeah.
right? We are creating the idea, we're getting it out to the people, we're giving the word out, we're maintaining the integrity of the idea, we're allowing it to grow and flourish, we're getting it in development, and we're getting the marketing done throughout all the 3 pieces. And so it's really not hard work. We're
Yeah.
making it as simple as possible.
Yeah. But what the key thing is, community. I love all that you said. You guys would probably have to rewind and watch because just taking in. But community, that's my name. Like, I had to go through a sabbatical and pull back. And it's interesting. I'm coming here. I'm like, whoa, community. Like I'm starting to see again, and like to come back to life again. And I love connecting. And seeing how someone connected me yesterday to some people who've been through as much as I had been through. 2 people. And I was like, wow, to share stories with someone who's come through, like Crystal, what you've gone through with the health thing with your daughter, like you need to understand that there are other people going through what you're going through. And
Mhm.
it just makes sense. That's why people say find your tribe. So this is a way to step in and find your tribe. Wow, it's been so fun chatting today. And I love you, Crystal. And guys, thanks for hanging out with us. It's such a blessing when you pop on and just give your heart and your thoughts and really support the people that are launching. And I can't wait to some of you who haven't yet launch your idea. And I'm launching.
Time.
Yeah, it's time. I'm launching a
Here's
new
your
one.
neon flashing light, right? It's fine. It's time. It's time. Here's your light.
And I feel that drive inside. And when you feel that, you got to find the answers. And it's amazing. They come in your email, they come in your Facebook post. Like everything that you need will start to come as you take that step. And then when you're looking again, like I'll be like, wow, how did that just happen to come to me that's exactly what I'm looking for. So may you be exactly what people are looking for. But if you need help in preparing that, that's what this challenge is about. Let's prepare this idea. Let's work it. So thank you, Crystal. Always a pleasure. And
Thank
God
you.
bless
Appreciate
you.
you, girl.
Would you appreciate you too? Would you like to close in prayer for us? So bless
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
thank
Father,
you.
we just thank you so much for every single person who is here because, Lord, I think you made every single person to be an entrepreneur because you've given them ideas, solutions. You are a problem solver and you teach us how to be the solution seekers. And so, Lord, teach each person here how to build that idea into a environment in an ecosystem that their clients can come into, that they feel safe, they feel appreciated, they feel cherished. And Lord, bring them to a place of abundant promises that are just released over them right now, Father, and position them to receive all that you have for them. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, guys. I look forward to seeing you again soon, Crystal, and God bless, guys.
Thank you.